So the sample size is like going smaller and smaller and smaller. Over the last 10 years, fucking 5% of the UK and racist police forces, where they over-police racialized people in their districts. Damn, dude, crazy how this report is falling in line with the overall anti-migrant rhetoric that is being pushed in the UK at the moment. That's crazy, dude. It's crazy how that's happening.
But your decision now to hold an inquiry into grooming gangs after refusing 6 months ago to do so has sparked anger. You accuse politicians like Badenoch of jumping on a bandwagon for the far right. Was that misjudged to put it in those terms?
Yes, I love the far right now. They're so good. Can't wait for my new far right friends to put me on a pedestal. It's really good that that's happening. Yes.
I was really clear that I was talking about politicians.
I know. I just said that.
Yeah, and I do think that those politicians need to answer the questions.
But do you wish you hadn't conflated it with right-wing bandwagon? Because that's not what people's concerns about grooming gangs weren't necessarily right-wing.
Yes, they were. Oh, you, Beth. Yes, they are. They overwhelmingly are. Grooming gangs is a dog whistle for far-right politics.
Do you sort of wish you hadn't said it?
Oh, I wish you were never born. Oh my god. I'd say your country is cooked. It's my king also. Our PM is a knob as well. Listen, man, we're all cooked under capitalism, innit? Do you know what I mean? All we gotta do is get out there, organize, do what you can, volunteer in your local union, in your trade union, your tenants union, start building dual power, mutual aid networks, because the thing is that even if you're a doomer and you're like, oh my god, what if an atomic bomb gets dropped and we have an atomic war, guess what? You might survive it. I know it sounds crazy, but there is a chance that people will survive it. I would say it's a larger chance that some people do survive it, because it's likely that if a atomic bomb gets dropped, it will be probably on Washington DC or on Israel or in Iran, and those are far enough away from a bunch of people to not affect everybody in the world. Obviously, it'll affect everybody in those places incredibly badly, and that would suck if it happened, and I don't want it to happen. But if you're a doomer and that's what you think, you better believe we're going to need dual power after that. It would make society fucked for centuries. Yeah, we'd be living in like a weird Fallout world.
I mean, I am frustrated in politics when people shout and scream a lot and do nothing when they got the opportunity to do it. It's one of the worst aspects of politics, in my view.
Yeah, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you, Keith?
Those calling for an inquiry had a point, though, didn't they? Because Casey's findings are stark. Disproportionate numbers of Asian men responsible for child sex grooming gangs.
Okay, I've been wanting to look into this. Casey report on grooming gangs. Baroness Casey's audit of group-based child sexual exploitation and abuse. So every fucking politician at the moment is quoting this report. Executive summary. This audit is focused on group-based child sexual exploitation by grooming gangs. It is rare, but is one of the most horrendous crimes in our society. It involves multiple perpetrators coercing, manipulating, deceiving children into sex to create an illusion of consent. While the public attitudes have shifted and children who used to be called child prostitutes are now understood to be victims of child sexual exploitation, there continues to be an awkwardness in society with acknowledging and discussing child sexual abuse. There remains a tendency to apportion blame to adolescent children for their own abuse. Yes, that's wrong and bad. It shouldn't happen. This audit is the latest in a long line of initiatives and measures looking into child sexual exploitation undertaken since the government adopted its first definition in 2009. Reviews, recommendations, strategies of child sexual exploitation raise the same issues repeatedly. System fails in information sharing, the need for more training, collecting better data and information on perpetrators, including on ethnicity. Why Why is it important that we know what the ethnicity of these people are? Oh boy, this is gonna cause the next riots. This is literally it. That's why this is the first thing that comes up. Public must keep calm over ethnicity of grooming gang offenders, says Louise Casey. The report author cautions against misuse of limited data, finding overrepresentation of Asian heritage men. Lady Casey's report on Monday found evidence of overrepresentation of Asian and Pakistani heritage men among suspects of group sexual exploitation, according to data from three police forces. Casey told MPs on Tuesday she was concerned that limited data available on the race and ethnicity of offenders was not being used responsibly as part of the public debate on grooming gangs. She said the report examined data for Greater Manchester Police, which covers towns including Rochdale and Oldham, where convicted grooming gangs operated. So if you look at the data on child exploitation, it is disproportionately Asian heritage. If you look at the data for child abuse, it is not disproportionate, and it is white men. So just a note to everybody, outside here rather than in here, let's keep calm about how you interrogate data and what you get from it. Right, so look, here's the thing. What is the difference between a grooming gang and child sexual abuse is very little. One is like a network of people who are doing it, and the other is a broad amount of people who are doing it. And what defines it being a grooming gang? GMP's figures show that 52% of suspects involved in multi-victim, multi-offender cases of child exploitation over a 3-year period were Asian, compared to 38% who were white. This is obviously overrepresented, far known to be a racist police force, the Greater Manchester Police. I don't doubt that the actual issue here is this people who are reporting crimes. Lots of people don't feel comfortable to report. I'm literally a victim of child sexual abuse. I never reported my abusers to the police, and I still won't due to my, my scruples, my abolitionist ideology informing that. However, I guarantee that this is because lots of people don't feel safe to come forward about it, and actually the true figure is going to be proportionate to the population. When examining suspects for all child sex abuse crimes, not just grooming, the same forces data show that 60% were Asian, 44% were white, while 32% of suspects were unknown ethnicity. Not just grooming. What is this fucking journalist talking about? Are they talking about just like instances of sexual violence where it comes out of nowhere? Without grooming? I guess so. Anyway, the long and short of this is, if they only asked 3 police forces, which 3 police forces did they ask? So we got Greater Manchester Police, which is an overwhelmingly racist police force. It polices the racialized community, much more so than the white people over Greater Manchester. So we're not going to find out which other police force. Let me see if we can find it in the report. Right, South Yorkshire Police. So I met the Inspector of Rotherham Council as a treatment in the hands of the violent abusers, treatment afforded to them accountable. The police force and their council, those responsible in Rotherham, denied any wrongdoing. So Rotherham Police Force, South Yorkshire Police, and Greater Manchester Police. Is that it? Use of colour throughout the following timeline text highlights recurring themes, system failures or improvements, risk and vulnerability, perpetrator ethnicity. Fucking hell, dude. This is just completely fucked. The problem is, even if this entire report is in completely good faith, which it's not, because Greater Manchester Police and South Yorkshire Police and Rotherham Police are small areas of the country. It's a tiny, it's like, what would I say? If Britain in its entirety, it would be like 5%, maybe less, 3% of Britain. And in England itself, it might be like 10%. I don't even know if it would be any more than that. Predominantly of British Pakistani ethnicity, with 1 white British offender, 11 men convicted in Derbyshire, 5 men convicted in Rotherham, Asian ethnic background, January to... So this is just over the last 10 years as well. So the sample size is like going smaller and smaller and smaller. Over the last 10 years, fucking 5% of the UK and racist police forces, where they over-police racialized people in their districts. Damn, dude, crazy how this report is falling in line with the overall anti-migrant rhetoric that is being pushed in the UK at the moment. That's crazy, dude. It's crazy how that's happening, and it's crazy how Beth Rigby is like, damn, how do you feel about being wrong about all that stuff that was wrong, all that data, it was so wrong. That paedophilia is a problem across the board.
Do-gooders were trying to cover stuff up for fear of being branded racist. Do you reckon...
Bro, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
And who are the do-gooders?
I absolutely recognise what Louise Casey wrote in her report. I've read every word of it. It's why I've decided there needs to be a national inquiry.
There is no way you've read every word of that report, dude. He lies so much. I've read every word of that report. They're going to use this inquiry to deport every single Asian person in Britain. Every single Pakistani or Indian or Bangladeshi or even Arab migrant. Probably even some North African migrants from Britain. That's what's going to happen. That's what they're going to do. This is Keir Starmer getting tough on immigration. This is what he's doing. This is all part of his new plan of capitulating to the far right. He's a disgusting, horrific fascist bastard. He has completely polluted the name of Labour. The name of Labour will never be... Even in Blair's Britain, there were some social policies that were good for the population. In this government... There is simply none. Nothing has happened. There are no moves being made. The Renters Reform Bill, the Renters' Rights Bill is taking ages to come through, and it's been watered down. This is absolutely horrific. This is what Donald Trump's been saying to him while Keir's been sucking his dick. Keir, what are you gonna do? my good little boy, what do you gotta do? You gotta organize a state-mandated pogrom. That's right. Just like that. Daddy loves it like that. That's right.
But no one in institutions have lost their jobs. Counsellors, social workers, policemen, civil servants, people that were meant...
Oh, Beth, you're barking up the wrong tree. Don't you understand? The state apparatus is there to be unaccountable. What are you talking about? Even if they do this state-mandated targeting of immigrants, which is already something that is happening, white people are not going to lose their jobs, or even just police officers. Doesn't matter if they're white or not. They won't lose their jobs. Always astonished how close Tories and Labour are, even less of a difference. I mean, look, it was not like that. At one point in time, it wasn't like that. This is only under Keir Starmer's leadership. It's gone so far right. I was literally just saying, even in Tony Blair's government, there were social safety net policies that were very good. Tony Blair's a disgusting person. He should be in The Hague. He literally colluded in murdering 1 million Iraqi people. I hate his guts, and I think he's a disgusting person. He shouldn't ever be allowed to speak ever again on anything political. But at least his government had some social safety nets and domestic policy. Under Keir Starmer's government, there is simply none of that. There is simply no promise of social safety nets. Everything is like, we're doing austerity, we're doing it even harder, we're doing it even more than the Tories, we hate migrants, they're getting deported now, let's get rid of them. You know, I've been saying this for the entire time that I've been a political streamer, because I was radicalised by Corbyn not getting into politics, getting into government, and seeing the failure of the electoral system to actually do anything for the working class. The tightening of the grip around the working class, 10 years of Tory policy absolutely destroying Britain, killing hundreds of thousands of disabled people. Like, it is unbelievable that is something that isn't even spoken about. The Labour government haven't even said they're going to do an inquiry into the hundreds of thousands of disabled people who died because austerity, the Tory policy of austerity, took their benefits away. And seeing that radicalised me. And then after that, I thought that Corbyn was going to remain in his position as leader of the opposition. He left. There was a leadership vote, but as soon as it was Keir Starmer, I was like, this is over. It's a joke. This guy's going to ruin the fucking party, because I knew he was in with Labour Friends of Israel. I knew that he was the shadow Brexit secretary, and Brexit is what lost Corbyn the election. It certainly was the smears from Labour, but I'm absolutely convinced that Keir Starmer being the shadow Brexit secretary and saying, no, we need a people's vote. We need a people's vote. Corbyn was hard on Brexit, but he wasn't hard enough. He should have got rid of Starmer and said, no, I'm sorry, we are doing Brexit. That's what the people voted for. It was a slim margin, but who cares? There's a reason for us to do Brexit. Brexit under a Corbyn government will be good. Under a Tory one, it will be bad. And I knew that this was the case. I knew it was going to get worse. And what we're seeing is the Americanization of British politics. It's been happening since 2001. And it's only going to get worse until we stand up and do something about it, until we create dual power, especially during the decline of empire, which we're in currently. It will simply just get worse. It's very possible that the US, with European support in Iran, might lose. It's very, very possible that Russia will be like, okay, it's time to have a go at Poland, and then Europe will have to focus on Poland, and then it could be a world war. Who knows?